All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Hope everybody's weekend is getting off to a fantastic start. Happy Friday, which, for me, Friday is my Monday. So it's like mixed feelings, But hey, at least I have nights off, so that's pretty cool. I'm not working through the night. So if I wanted to do something, I could. But I'm probably just gonna take it easy. Take it easy. Watch a little Braves baseball. That is one reason I'm gonna try to do a kind of quick episode. Still wanted to get on here and talk to y'all a little bit as the Braves finished off the series against the St. Louis Cardinals. I told y'all they weren't about to get swept at home by a last place team, and the boys proved me right. Our beloved Bravos coming through 8-5 win, had 5 home runs in this game as a team, including 2 first pitch home runs by Ronald Acuna in the first inning, and then again in the 6th inning. Both, of course, solo shots, obviously in the first, it had to be. And nobody was on base for the other one. And the 6th inning was cool because the Braves came in only up 1 run in that inning. Then Michael Harris II hit one 442 feet. And Acuna comes up a couple batters later, and he hits one into the bullpen. And that would, be most of what we needed for the distance. We gave up a couple runs late. But after having the game tied at 3, once the Braves started hitting home runs, it was kind of, they did pretty good there. Acuna had the one in the first. Eddie Rosario, after after Ozzie Albies walked, Matt Olson getting on base. Only bad news really from this game was that there was no Austin Riley. He is home sick. Apparently he is still sick. Will be out today. But I guess it's like weird to say. Obviously, hope he feels better. But baseball-wise, you'd rather him be sick than injured. But at the same time, if he's sick for too long, it could mess up his, equilibrium strength-wise and all that. But hopefully he gets better. Sounds like it's not like too serious. Just don't, if you're sick, you shouldn't be throwing the ball around and spreading all your germs. And that's the great thing about this team, and what will allow Snicker to rest some guys probably off and on, as he's already started to do, which is what most people assumed he was doing with Austin, but Austin actually sick. But either way, getting some rest. Hopefully he rests up, gets better. But 5 homers for the Braves in this one, the one in the first. And then, you feel pretty good. You got a 3-0 lead, but it didn't last. Cardinals tied it up in the top of the second. It looked like the Braves maybe escaped still with the lead. But the more they showed the replay, and then longer the break, the review got or whatever, before they announced it, I'm like, yeah, he's going to be safe. And, of course, that's what they did. Because you can't blame the Cardinals for challenging that. Because even on the initial one, I was like, oh, maybe. I guess he got him. But when it's your team, you're always going to assume that he got him. Right? If you're the other guy, if I was a Cardinals fan, I'd be like, oh, obviously he's out right away. He's safe right away, I would have said. But as a Braves fan, I was like, I think he's still out. And I was like, well, I guess he's still out. And eventually it's like, oh, shit. They're going to give him this run. So that tied it up at 3. But you had Matt Olson, who just keeps mashing the damn ball. He had that little drought there for a second, but looks like it's over. That is 4 straight games with a home run for Matt Olson. He's got 47 on the season. It ties him with Eddie Matthews and Hank Aaron for the second most all-time in Braves history. Not just Atlanta Braves history, but Braves history. Milwaukee, Boston, all of the damn thing. Matt Olson, that's 47. He's just, 5 away? Is it 5 or 7 away? Either way, he's within 10 homers of Andrew Jones' record. And Andrew Jones was one of my favorite players at one point in my life, for sure. Yeah. Fast, fun, brave center fielder. When he came up, you had the Jones boys, him and Chip. Oh, man, that was special. But this team now might be even more special. All the guys We got locked in. Ronald Acuna Jr. is like, oh, y'all don't think I'm an MVP? You think Mookie Betts is? And hey, I'm not hating on Mookie Betts because Mookie Betts, it seems like an awesome dude. A lot of fun to watch when he's not playing the Braves and beating us, obviously. But he's super talented, an amazing season. But it's Ronald Acuna should be MVP. But not because Mookie Betts isn't so damn good. I mean, maybe any other year, Mookie Betts wins that award. But Acuna is still on the warpath. And every homer, stolen base is some form of history. He's getting closer and closer to being the 5th member of the 40 homer, 40 stolen base club. He's already the only member of the 30 home run, 60 stolen base club. And home runs now on the season, Ronald Acuna Jr. now has 34 home runs, y'all. It's only six away from 40. A while ago, it was like, man, I don't know if he'll hit 40, but 30 is pretty damn impressive. But then the way he's been hitting homers lately, started with that Dodgers series, and just keeps doing it. It seems like 34 to go with his. Let's see, how many stolen bases is it now? Hey, it's always like 63 stolen bases. He had 29 last year. He's more than doubled his stolen bases, more than doubled his home runs from last year. Of course, it's not going to show his strikeouts. But last year he hit 266. He's hitting the highest. This season will be the highest he has ever hit in his career. Previously, it was 293 his first year. It was 280 his second year. 283 before going down with injury in 2021. 266 last year. 331. Just what a year. And last year, so not only talking about, first I didn't see, because they always change how strikeouts are. He had 126 strikeouts last season. Now, this season, he has 76. 50 less. 50 less strikeouts. And he'll add to that total over the next month. But what a drop off in strikeouts. Like you're cutting your strikeouts more than in half. More than in half. And you more than double your home runs and your stolen bases. Just what a year. You can't, overstate that. And he'll probably end up doubling his RBIs by the time the season is over. Last year he had 50. He's got 88. That's, I honestly would be surprised if Ronald Acuna doesn't get 12 RBIs. Six solo homers and a couple, a few doubles, bases loaded single here or there. Just what a year for him, man. About to have a career high in triples. The most triples he ever got was his rookie year with 4. He's got 3. And even if he doesn't get another one, 3 triples pretty good. Pretty good. Just everything. He's just doing so much better. He could end up, not going to double his hits. Probably had 124 hits last year, but he's already up to 187. So I feel pretty confident he'll have at least 13. It's not crazy to think he could have 40 hits over the course of this month. The way he plays, he probably not. But he'll definitely have 13. So he's going to end up with 200 hits. Just what a year for him, man. And when you're like, oh, well, he's really steal bases, but his home runs are just okay. He's just been on a tear lately, man. And that was after he had the 3 games without a homer. After, was it 4 homers in 3 games? Or 3 homers? 3 homers in 2. I think, 4 homers in 3 games. Then he had 3 games without a homer, where he went 1 of 14 overall. And you just know, that's the thing with Ronald Acuna Jr. Or really everyone on this Braves team, but especially Ronald Acuna Jr. Even when they're slumping, and you wouldn't really call that a slump because it was 3 games, But, like, you always know they're going to turn it around. And Acuna, like, it feels like whenever he goes a couple days without a hit, whenever he does, like, he gets some hits. Like, like you go from 1 of 14 in 3 games. This one, 2 of 5, 2 runs, 2 home runs, just like that. What a way to end this series. Like, I felt confident the Braves would get a win, but there's the part of me that's like, well, will they? I didn't think they would have lost 2 to the Cardinals. But like I said, damn sure they are not going to lose 3 in a row at home right now. Not this team. Not even without the third baseman, Austin Riley. Ronald Acuna Jr. wasn't going to let it happen. Michael Harris II wasn't going to let it happen. Matt fucking Olson wasn't going to let it happen. Picking up the slack with his corner man out. This other corner man, 2 of 3. Eddie Rosario was 2 of 4 in this one. Had those 2 RBIs on that single in the first inning, sending Ozzie and Olson home. Ozuna, only 1 of 4, but, man, he ripped a couple of them pretty good. But Edmonds, man, they had that outfielder. Was it, Edmund, because it confuses me because he makes me think Jim Edmonds. So I think at one point played for the Cardinals back in the day. Not back in the day, but like back in my day kind of day. But he made like 2, it was like right at the 400 sign. Like Acuna, he not a robbed one, but he made a really damn good hit catch. That definitely could have been an extra base hit. And then did the same to Ozzie. A couple ones that were almost home runs. So Acuna wasn't that far away from having 3 home runs in this game. As crazy as that sounds. But, had Nicky Lopez, that threw me off. Forget he can play third. So that was that great move, getting him for basically nothing. And what he's been able to do, became even more important. Ozzie ended up injured. Can put him in there at shortstop if Orlando needs a day off. And Austin Riley, what would be done? Would try to Orlando maybe at third? Or maybe that, what's his name? The random Dodger guy, Luke Williams. Is he still on our team? I think he is. I think he's still on. Don't remember seeing that he got sent down. So, like, he could probably play it, but it's great having a guy, Nicky Lopez, that you trust to play second, short, third. And Snicker was even like, man, I'd play him in the outfield. And, and also another homer we have not yet mentioned yet. They gave us our final 2 runs of the game, gave us a little distance. Travis d'Arnaud, who's getting the start again tonight. So, first time he's had back-to-back starts in almost a month. Sean Murphy getting the majority of them. Probably, it's a long season. Should give him maybe a little break. Saw a ranking putting him as the top catcher in baseball right now, which is awesome. And just having a backup like Travis d'Arnaud, who could be starting with a lot of teams. A lot of teams would have Travis d'Arnaud as their starting catcher, which is why I was so shocked when this trade happened, because I'm like, why? But, look, color me retarded, I guess, Alex Anthopoulos. You had this one right. And, I'm glad I was wrong on that one. Murphy, former teammate in Oakland, current teammate now in Atlanta, obviously, Matt Olson. I guess the Braves were able to benefit from that guy wanting to move his team to Vegas. But, not like you didn't give him away, but still, you got to think those trades probably not happening, at least not both of them, and include all the other, guys they got rid of over the last couple of years, if they weren't trying to move. Would have Max Fried? We finish talking about Travis. That's what happens when I try to freestyle it too many days in a row. So Travis d'Arnaud getting the start, and he hit a 407-foot homer. It's his 11th of the year. It felt like he went months. I know it was at least 1 month, maybe 2 months, where Travis d'Arnaud did not have any home runs. Because I kept saying, here goes Travis d'Arnaud. Like, anytime you come up to bat, I'm like, number 10, be a double-digit dinger, d'Arnaud. And it kept not happening. He finally got 10. Just a couple days later, he gets number 11. And, Harris has 14. So, he could end up with 20. The Braves already have, franchise record with guys that have 30. But you got some guys approaching 20, too. So Harris 1 of 4. He's got his average almost to 300. He keeps not being able to get over that hump, but I love to see Michael Harris II finish with a 300 average. Not like it wouldn't be a great season otherwise, but it would be just kind of extra special because hitting 300, even though it's 30%, is it's tough, it's hard, not easy at all. But Max Fried, as I almost started to talk about, getting the win in this one, getting the Braves back on track. Did allow those 3 runs in the second, but that was it. And that was all the Braves allowed at all as a staff until the 9th inning when we had Raisel Iglesias come up in a non-save situation. And he almost turned it into a save situation. And I guess it would have been a save. But it was we were up by 5 runs. It was 8-3. I got tired of trying to watch the game because it was being really annoying with my I was like, okay, we got this. The streams have been annoying lately. I was actually was watching some of it on Big Inning on MLB, but then I was also watching the football game, which I will be talking about the NFL Kickoff game as well. So stay tuned after I talk about the Braves, because I want to probably wrap up the Braves soon because I want to watch the Braves. But Max, again, with 6 innings in this one, striking out 4, walking 2, 6 hits, like I mentioned before, only 3 runs crossing. The ERA for him at 2.70. It's really nice seeing Max getting into proper form for the playoffs because he is going to be, for sure, one of those guys. It's going to be him and Spencer. Probably Charlie going to be the lead 3. Maybe earlier in the year it would have been Bryce over Charlie. But I think Charlie will be the 3rd option. Bryce Elder, I still believe, will be the 4th option. Just because he's been able to. We'll see how he does tonight. But for the most part, he's had his moments, struggle wise, but it's still been a good season for him. You got to remember, he started the season at AAA. Didn't really, probably thought he would play some. Probably didn't expect, not many people expected him to spend the whole season with the big club, and he came up really quick. And we wouldn't be in the position we are without Bryce Elder, even though he's not pitched quite as good lately, after the All-Star break as he did the beginning of the season when he was the league leader in ERA for a minute. But without him pitching like that, with Max and Kyle out, we might, we're not saying we'd have been doomed, but it wouldn't have been good. Because you got to remember, too, Charlie Morton wasn't pitching so good up then either. So it's one of those things I always talk about that I love about this team. It's somebody always picking somebody else up. Whether it's at the plate, with the or behind the plate, the catchers, both of them doing an incredible job behind the plate and at the plate. And then you got, hitters. It's you'll have Acuna will go a couple days. But somebody else, Matt Olson will be hitting home runs. Or maybe the 7, 8, and 9 or have, step up when the 1, 2, 3 guys ain't doing their usual thing. Not the 1, 2, 3 kid /6/X-Pac. Poor guy, all his names are 6s. That's 3 6s. Oh, no! My phone, literally went dark the second I did that. I was oh, no! But, it's in there. And then with the rotation, Bryce and Spencer, Spencer's still doing his thing. While he did struggle, his recent start here against St. Louis, that's going to happen time to time. And, but still, he and Bryce carried the rotation earlier. And now Max and Charlie are picking up some of the slack. And Bryce still doing his thing. Not like it's all bad. But he's not, not pitching the same level he was early in the year. But, you don't have to. Beautiful thing about this team. And how about the bullpen for the Bravos? Pierce Johnson pitching a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. AJ Minter coming on the next inning in the 8th and doing the same. Both of them 2 strikeouts. But Raisel kind of struggling in this one. But not enough to cause a loss or anything. It's a great thing going out there with a little bit of room. And I'm sure it's probably weird for him going out there with room. He's wait, I'm used to it being a little bit tighter than this. Let me make myself more comfortable. So the rare time where he walks 2, gives up 2 hits, and doesn't strike anybody out. But I feel like he's going to be ready to get us a save next couple days here against Pittsburgh. So great job for the Braves, taking the win 8-5. Still, obviously, the best record in baseball. Finally, over 90 wins. Those two losses were rough. Just sitting there at 90. So the Braves are 91-48, 14 games up on the Phillies, 19 and a half up on the Marlins, and the Marlins have won 7 of the last 10. So they're getting themselves in that wild card conversation. 27 up on the Mets. And the Nationals, man, disappointing us by letting the Mets stay ahead of them. They have lost 8 of their last 10. They won their most recent game, but they're 28 and a half games behind us and a game and a half behind the Mets. The miserable, miserable Mets. Dodgers, of course, out west, the second best record in the National League still, 85-54, 12 and a half up on the D-Bags, 15 and a half up on the Giants, 20 games up on the poor, pitiful Padres, who have a 0.7% chance of going to the playoffs. They were winning a few, but they split the last 10, so things not looking good for the Padres. The Brewers, first place by 2.5 games, even though they only have one more win than Dansby's Cubs. Cincinnati 5.5 back. The Pirates, who at one point were first place in this division, are 12.5 out of first. But they come into this series having won their most recent contest and having won 7 of their last 10. And last time they came to town, they surprised us a couple times. So you got to remember, Bravos, don't sleep on them. In and out the year in the American League. God's country. Not really. But, I guess it's all God's country, depending on what you think, which God or what God, or, maybe it's just nature. Who knows? Either way, Baltimore, second best record in baseball, 88 wins, 51 losses. They are 4 games ahead of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They've won 5 in a row, too. 7 of the last 10. The Rays ain't slacking. They've won 6 of the last 10. And so have the Blue Jays. But the Blue Jays starting to win a little too late. They're 11.5 out. They're worried about that wild card. Minnesota, still 6.5 up on Cleveland, looking pretty confident they're going to be able to lock up the Central. They have won 6 of their last 10. 98.5% chance of going to the playoffs. Cleveland's chances getting smaller and smaller, 1.4. But Detroit, man, they're only 2.5 behind Cleveland. That's surprising that they're 10 games ahead of the White Sox. Of course, KC is still last place. Second worst record in baseball. By half a game to the A's, who were 36.5 behind the Astros, who now are ahead of the Mariners by half a game. Both teams on winning streaks. Astros 3 games, won 7 of the last 10. The Mariners kind of cooled down for a second, split the last 10 games, but they've won 2 in a row. Very good chance to go to the playoffs. If they don't win the division, they'll be one of the top wild card options. Them and the Rays. It's going to be a wild card, man, and that's going to be a battle in both of them there. Texas, man, who spent most of the season first place, fell to 3 games back on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 7 of their last 10. And let's look at the wild card standings. Tampa Bay and Seattle right now would be the wild cards, with Toronto taking the final spot. And Toronto is a half a game ahead of Texas. So that, Texas, if they keep losing, them losing is good for Toronto. So either the West or the East is going to have 3 teams in the playoffs. The Central, Cleveland is 10.5 out of the wild card, of the final wild card spot. Detroit is 13 out, so it's probably not happening. Boston, and it's literally the entire East is technically in the running, because Boston and New York Yankees, the Yankees are 70-70, but they're only 7 games out of that last wild card spot. So there is still time. There's 22 games left. Probably not going to happen, but crazier shit has. I like how it is now. I'd like to see Toronto, Seattle, and Tampa. I think that'd be some wild cards I'd fuck with. And I kind of hope the Phillies, maybe we can help the Phillies fall out of contention. I would love to see the Phillies not in the playoffs. Maybe I'm just a hater, or maybe I just know history. 93, last year, when Braves lost despite winning the division, looking like a World Series team, losing. The fucking Phillies getting upset. I don't want to be upset, especially not by the fucking Phillies. They're 4.5 games up, though, in the wild card race, so they probably, the most likely chance of a team to get in there. The Cubs are 2.5 behind them, but 2 games ahead of Arizona. Right now, thanks to a 3-game winning streak, the D-Bags are holding up that final spot, wild card spot. But they can't rest. They can't relax. Because the Marlins and the Reds are both 1 game back. The Giants, 70-70, just like their former crosstown rival, the Yankees. But they have lost. The Giants have lost 6 in a row in 7 of their last 10. So they should have the upper hand, but if they don't stop losing, they're going to be a little closer to the Padres than they are the D-Bags. The Padres are 7.5 games behind the Diamondbacks. So like the Yankees, probably not going to the playoffs. But them poor, pitiful Padres could still technically make it. Same with the poor, pitiful Pirates. No, they're not poor and pitiful. They're a fun team to watch. Fun random fact I read about the Pirates. Apparently they've had 135 different batting lineups this year in 140 games. That's a wild stat. Because they got, and then they got Killian Hayes, I think is his name, and he's done a good job. He's playing like third base. He hasn't done that for them yet. But they're only 8 out, so if they go on a winning streak, they could technically catch Arizona. The Mets are only 8.5 out. Washington at 10 out, that's probably not going to happen. Because they would need, to win like 10 games while the Diamondbacks lose 10 games in the next 20 somehow. So that's probably not happening. But either way, fun to look at all that. And the Braves, man, just doing their thing. Let's see who's pitching, see if they've announced the pitchers for this series. It's a 3-game series before we go up to Philadelphia for a 4-game series over the course of 3 days. We got a makeup game, so a doubleheader on 9/11. But this first game of the series tonight, Charlie Morton will be trying to get win number 15 against Oviedo, who, if I remember correctly, last time kind of surprised us. Game 2 will be Spencer Strider, but they haven't announced that yet. Have not announced the second game or the third game of the series. That's right, the Spencer's tonight. And the first inning is over in that game. I was getting confused. I'm not used to doing this while a game is actually going on. No, it's Elder tonight, of course, and then Charlie. And then they're probably going to bring somebody up, even though I'd said I didn't know who they would bring up. I mean, they could technically, Darius Vines might be ready to go. He only pitched a couple innings the other day, so maybe he gets a start. That would make sense to me. Still a possibility that Schuster or Dodd maybe comes up, maybe even Allen Winans. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Darius Vines do it. I thought he was going to start anyway, even if he did. I think they would just kind of see, like, as a reliever maybe, how he would do coming in like the middle of the game. Because if he's on the playoff roster, he's not going to be starting. Like, he's going to be coming out the bullpen more than likely, I would think. Because you don't go with a full 5-man rotation in the playoffs. You don't need to. Why? You don't need to go that deep into your rotation, which makes it so much tougher hitting for the offense because you're going against, the best pitchers on the team. Like, every time. They're not going to give you any time off. You're not going to go, here we got the back of the rotation because there ain't no damn such thing in the playoffs. But like I said, I'm going to be watching that game. So we got tonight, tomorrow night, Sunday afternoon. Braves got some, hosting the Pirates before they end this road. They go on a little road trip, playing the Phillies and the Marlins before the Phillies play 3 games here. And I might have to try to go to that series, man. So you just beat the Phillies once. Either way, come back. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow. Just because it just depends on how I feel. But sometime, I'll talk about the Pirates series or games. I might wait and do it all as a series. Wait and see, because I'm not going to be able to watch the Sunday game. I'll be working. Same with the Panthers. Speaking of the Panthers, let's move on to the Panthers. Brian Burns still has not got a new contract with the Panthers. He has practiced fully. Everybody's talking about him posting like a picture of like Spider-Man, like his Venom, I guess from Spider-Man 3, like a contemplative pose. So man, I really hope he plays because honestly, I don't think the Panthers have a chance on Sunday to win Bryce Young's first start in Atlanta. Like a home game maybe, but I think the Falcons, man, they're going to be tough offensively for us, I believe. Just, Bijan Robinson, I think Desmond Ritter, showed improvement every single game he started for them last year. So he could be dangerous. He's got Drake London, who surprised a lot of people last year. Kyle Pitts, he didn't have the year he would like to have had last year. It probably just means he's going to bounce back, have an incredible season. And they still got Cordell Patterson doing his thing back there. So it's going to be tough. So I feel like we need to be at our best. Not saying they're an amazing, one of the best teams, but we sure as shit ain't either. And I just don't. I thought once the Nick Bosa contract happened, that that would sort of move things along a little bit, but I haven't heard anything new. So I don't know. That doesn't mean things aren't happening behind the scenes, because I feel like they are. But still, it's a little worrisome not knowing for sure if Brian Burns is going to suit up and play on Sunday in the opener for the Panthers. Because if we can't get him on this team, it's just going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard. Because he just is a game changer, and we don't have anyone near him, near his level, to step up. You had a Gross Matos, could get some good sacks. Justin Houston, I think, was a really good free agent pickup. And Amir Barno, I've talked him up a lot. I believe he has he has a lot of potential. Got to figure out how to tap that shit. But none of them are anywhere close to the level of Brian fucking Burns. And I don't get it. You obviously want to keep this guy. You turned down a lot of, about 2 or 3 first-round picks for him, which you don't hear a lot for a defensive guy. And you said that wasn't enough. This is our future. And then you don't want to pay him like he's your future. You're willing to let him play unhappy and underpaid this year. I get that's the contract, but that isn't how shit works anymore. It's if you want to keep Brian Burns, you got to keep him happy. At least happy-ish. Pay the dude. And I find it hard to believe he's asking for something that's totally ridiculous, because he seems like a pretty damn level-headed dude. And, he's number 0, because ain't none like him. Pay the damn man, Panthers. But, hey, let's talk about last night's game, because Panthers, they don't play for a couple days. And there's no new news. I just think they should pay Brian Burns immediately. Last night, the NFL season kicked off, and the Detroit Lions, baby, ended last year by making sure Aaron Rodgers didn't go to the playoffs in his last season as a Green Bay Packer. And they start out this season spoiling the banner party for the Kansas City Chiefs. And a big part of it, of course, no Travis Kelce. It was announced shortly before the game that he would not be playing. And they weren't able to get it done. Yards-wise, it was some decent yardage for Mahomes. But definitely disappointing that, he ends up with 30 less yards than Jared Goff. And it wasn't all his fault, because there was the play that I believe totally turned everything around. The pick 6 by rookie Brian Branch. How about your first NFL interceptions, a pick 6? That's pretty damn special. Took it to the house, and it was a perfect pass by Patrick Mahomes. Usually perfect passes don't get intercepted, but Kadarius Toney not looking great in his starting out after coming over the trade late last year from the Giants. Not great start to his season. Had a couple drops, and this one went right through his hands. There was a couple of pictures on Instagram that was this ball was intercepted. But hey, man, I can't catch for shit, so I can't really say anything. I try to do more celebrating than hating on here. So hey, man, you can't help it. Shit's going to happen. But Mahomes, the Chiefs just didn't look right. Obviously, a big part of that, not having his number one option. Just throwing the whole offense off, because Travis Kelce is pretty much in every play. He had a little Iron Man streak going. And without him, they only had 226 yards receiving. 48 of those was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Justin Watson was second with 45. 31 from tight end on 3 catches, Noah Gray. And last year's rookie, Isaiah Pacheco, 34 catches for 31 yards. And he had 8 carries for 23 yards. Mahomes was the leading rusher for the Chiefs He had 45 yards, so it was like they just couldn't get it going. 18 incomplete passes. He only had a 72 quarterback rating, and everything just felt like it just turned on that interception when Brian Branch took that one, and that was like one of the last things I saw in this game because I was like, man, I want to stay up and watch this game, but I was already getting tired, and it was just after halftime, and where today's like my Monday, I didn't want to stay up too late, so I went to bed like 10. So I did watch some of it. I got to see first half the Lions going down the field, scoring 240. Amon-Ra St. Brown knew he'd do something in this game. He had a touchdown pass to start it off. And what was so cool about that drive was at one point the Chiefs almost got a first down when they had like a third and kind of long, but they were a couple yards short. Like, okay, they're gonna punt because they were on their own 17-yard line. 17-yard line. Dan Campbell got a big old pair of balls. Goes for it on fourth down in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. Goes for it and gets it. I saw it hilarious. It was like a meme going from that South Park episode when all the guys had testicular cancer. They all give themselves testicular cancer so they can smoke weed because that was when it was just not legal Colorado, but like medically legal. And then they like get their balls all get so grossly large they got to roll around in a wheelbarrow. And somebody put Dan Campbell's head on it, and I was like, it's so good. I have to send it to my friend John. Johnny's a big Lions fan. I was happy for him last night because I don't hate the Chiefs, but it was. I'm glad the Lions won. It was a little more fun that way, but not that surprising once Kelsey comes out. But at the same time, even without Kelsey, I thought Mahomes, would find a way. But just, he's so used to that. That's his security blanket. Like, he's played, like, almost every game of his career with Travis Kelsey. Just knowing he's right there. Number one, is somebody the defense has to watch. Not doing that with Gray or Bell, the guys who were trying to, take his place in this game. No offense to them. But obviously, as a defense, you're not going to be quite as worried about them as you are a current legend like Travis Kelsey. And then on top of that, like, he's just someone you can throw it to. And Kelsey makes incredible catches and then somehow turns it into more yards than it should be. So that's a lot to miss. And just on top of that, the Lions came in, and a lot of teams will be kind of scared. You're not scared, but you know what I mean? That would be a little afraid. It would just show in their playing in this environment. They would be awed a little bit. The Lions didn't give a damn. They, came in. They knew they could win. Like, Dan Campbell has become really fun to watch and listen to. And not more important than that, he's about to start winning some damn games because last year they didn't make the playoffs, but they were looking a lot better. And that's just a big statement win for the Lions to go on the road. And yeah, you can say the Travis Kelsey thing, but these are still the defending champs. It's still Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. And to go on the road and win this game, not just start your season, but to start the entire NFL season, could be the beginning. Like, this is going to be some wild shit, y'all. But despite the Lions scoring first and taking the early 7-0 lead, the Chiefs did score twice in the second quarter, including with 34 seconds left in the half when Blake Bell dug one in. But when Brian Branch tied that with his 50-yard interception return, when he tied it up, it just wasn't the same in any of that. The Chiefs, after scoring 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, did not score any touchdowns in the second half. 2 field goals. Harrison Butker coming in, kicking 2 field goals. And then the Lions, their new RB, David Montgomery, ran one in with 7 minutes left. And nobody scored the rest of the way. So, interesting start to the NFL season for sure. And I think the Lions, I think the NFC North is going to be a battle between the Lions and the Bears. And having seen this, which we haven't seen the Bears play yet, not like a full actual game. But I think the Bears are going to be fighting to try to keep up with the Lions. I think the Lions are going to be hungry to eat their opponents. The Packers about to get swept by the Lions. Vikings, look out. Man, you might end up missing Dalvin Cook. They still got Mattinson. They still got, obviously Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the game. But, can Kirk Cousins keep it going? I don't know. I would take the Lions over anybody else in that division. But you still got to look out and see. We got to see what. Because Justin Fields, if he keeps doing like he did last year, the leaps, the bounds that he made as a player last year, quarterback and runner, if he can carry that over and keep growing, now that he's, got a little more comfortable with Chase Claypool, came over in the trade last year. He got DJ Moore, who at times had inconsistent numbers with the Panthers, but I wouldn't put much of that on him. Most of that goes on just ever since Cam left, the randomness of who was throwing him dead ball. Whether it was, Darnold, who apparently was the last quarterback from the last 7 drafts to win their first start. Bryce Young trying to make some history, man. But, maybe this is a good sign. The Lions beating the Chiefs could be a good sign for the Panthers. Because I feel like it'd be an upset if the Panthers win, but it wouldn't be like a major upset because the Falcons aren't expected to be that good either. It would just be a great story. It'd be the upset of the fact that a number 1 pick quarterback hasn't won his first start going back 20 years. But fun fact, Cam Newton when looking at all the quarterbacks, the number 1 picks that started week 1, that none of them had won, but Cam came the damn closest. He had the best stats, the highest QBR. So that's kind of encouraging. The Panthers got some good history on their side with this one. But regardless, I am going to get off of here and watch some Braves baseball and eat probably a snack because I finally ate, had my dinner right before I did this. But hope y'all have a great night. Check back sometime in the next couple days, Sunday or probably Sunday or Monday. I might try to do it after work on Sunday to talk about the Panthers game because it'll be over by the time I get home from work. So we'll have to see what happens, though, but definitely by Sunday. Probably not tomorrow. I'll probably take a day off just because, I don't always want to sit here and do this after work. Sometimes I want to take it easy and smoke a couple balls. I can still do, but, this is chill time taken away. But, hey, man, hope y'all have a great day. Go Braves. Go Panthers. Go you, whoever you are. As long as you don't suck. And if you suck, still go. Just don't suck anymore. Unless you don't have to. Sometimes you just got to suck it up. But hey, anyway, whatever all that means, have a great day. Come back for more of your new favorite podcast. Subscribe on Spotify so you don't miss shit. Because you never know. I might say something pretty fucking cool. But for now, it's over. Peace out.